Hello and welcome. This is Lisa Rangel from Chameleon Resumes, a premier executive resume writing company, and thank you so much for joining me today. So I had a whirlwind of a day. I'm doing this video after coming back from 3 networking, holiday parties, events, breakfasts today because I started early. So what I want to do is I want to give you 5 doable networking tips for introverts. That's what we're going to talk about today because, we still have a couple of weekends left to the holidays. We have New Year's coming up. And frankly, this is a timeless subject, no matter what the season, right? Whether it's holidays, whether it's winter, whether it's the summer, whether it's the spring, whether it's back to school in the fall. There's always reasons to get together, and there's always reasons for us introverts to, get anxiety and panic over the social events. And frankly, I have found some ways that have made it easier for me. And so I want to share those with you. Now, some of these are not unique to me. There's one, I think possibly 2 that, I've kind of discovered over the years that make it easier for me to do. And so I want to share this with you. So the first one is this is something that I did, I'm going to actually do tomorrow, is attend a local fundraiser and participate and make it a goal to meet 2 people qualitatively. That's my goal tomorrow. So, introverts, I term myself as an introvert who plays well with extroverts. So I like to have a goal. I make networking and meeting people easier for myself by saying, I'm gonna set a reasonable goal. And the reasonable goal that I have for this event tomorrow, I did one last week as well, is I try to meet 2 people qualitatively. And then I will reach out to them on either LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, or, meet them where they are, wherever they are, and then, aim to follow up. And sometimes something comes of it and sometimes it doesn't, but that's the goal. I aim to meet new people, and I put a goal to myself to do that. So that's suggestion number 1. Suggestion number 2 is to join an association. Now, that association can be professional, it can be a hobby, it can be something civic in your local area to help your town or certain demographics within your geographic area. It can be an online association of some kind. Again, it can be whatever is inspiring you in the moment. Go find like-minded people and join that association. And again, make a goal, right? Maybe you meet one new person a month. And just keep that goal. So, you don't have to do all of these, by the way. I'm going to give you 5. There's obviously more suggestions, but you don't have to do them all. Like, find one of these that resonates with you, by the way, and then just run with that, right? If you can do more, great. But just don't overwhelm yourself with all these either. So that's number 2, is just to join an association. And the third suggestion I have is get a networking wingman or wing person or accountability buddy or whatever word you want to use, whatever phrase you want to use, to basically say, don't do it alone. Get a friend and bounce off each other. Go walk up to your friend if they're talking to somebody, and then you just kind of join that conversation, or they do it with you, and just get a person, get a buddy, and do it together. Number 4, if you do it alone, the tactic that I really have been doing for over a decade, actually longer than that probably, is if I'm walking in a room, I look for probably the most uncomfortable people that are really standing off on their own, not really engaging, and I just kind of go up to them and I introduce myself, and I'll say something like, if I get a vibe that they can handle it, I'm like, you kind of look how I feel and I hate these things. What about you? And I kind of bond over that, or I'll say like, what brings you here? How are you affiliated with the event? What was your hope in coming here? What are you trying to accomplish? Or, or just start talking about something about the event. If it was actually thrown by a person versus an association, I might say, how do you know so-and-so? Or what brought you here with so-and-so leading this? Or if it's the association and I'm new, I just suggested to join an association, I might say, how long have you belonged? What have you liked about it? Have you seen it change? What made you join? That sort of thing. So there's ways to make small talk if you are going at some of these events alone. And you can take these tactics and also do this with online events as well, like online conferences and things like that. Like people you see in the virtual rooms, you can usually, there's some sort of chat mechanism offhand, and you can reach out to people, write their names down, reach out to them on LinkedIn afterwards, and that sort of thing. So I did mention the word small talk. So I want to give you number 5, which is small talk gives most of us hives. Even I think extroverts can sometimes hate small talk. So I have one of my go-to books is a book called The Art of Small Talk, and it's by Deborah Fine. And I will read it occasionally, and it's the kind of book that you don't have to read in sequential order. You can literally open it up and get some questions that you can take with you to any event you might go to, and it gives you some starter questions to sample. It's saved me on so many levels. It's helped make it really easy for me because I really hate it and I'm not very good at it. Just despite what I do for a living, which is teaching people how to network to find jobs, you would think that I'd be a master at small talk, and I'm here to tell you I'm not. So this is a book that I use, and I encourage you to use it. And you can get it on Amazon, anywhere, and it just helps you with some starter things just to get the conversation going, and it does it in a really easy, approachable way. So and I even gave you some in that item there before. And I know I started off saying I was going to give you 5 tactics to use, doable tactics to use for networking as an introvert, but I'm going to give you a bonus. And this 6th one is to go through your LinkedIn contacts, your LinkedIn connections. And I can guarantee that there are people you have not talked to ever, never mind, in a while, if not ever. So reach out to them. It can be, hey, we've been LinkedIn contact. If you go to their, on mobile anyway, if you go to their connection contact info, it'll say when you connected. And you can see if you've been connected for 5 years and never spoke to them, right? You can go to the message section between your connections, and you'll see if you've had a conversation in any way on connections, on messaging at all. So if you haven't talked to them in a while, if you've never talked to them, this is a reason to reach out. It can just be simply having a conversation with them. It doesn't have to be about a job search. It doesn't have to be about what you need. It can just be about, hey, we've been connected for a while. I may not have any idea why we did initially connect, but we're connected. So would you want to have a chat? And then if they, don't respond in like a month, maybe you decide to unconnect. If you haven't talked in 5 years and now they're not wanting to talk to you, maybe it's a reason to call the connection, right? And start making your connection base more fruitful with those that respond and that you engage with. So that's just something to keep in mind. But, introverts, like other people, are goal-oriented. So the way I have tackled, and I probably should have led with this, the way I've tackled getting better at networking is I make it a goal, because I typically like to accomplish my goals. And so I will set goals with, as I mentioned I think it was the first couple, like if I'm going to go to an event, I may say I'm going to meet 2 people. Or if I'm going to an online event, I'll say I'm going to write down 5 names. I'm going to reach out to them afterwards and see what happens. Or I join an association and say, I'm going to meet 1 person a month from the group. Here's another bonus. I just recently moved, and, I joined a fitness group. And starting in January, we're going to be running every Saturday, so I'll meet people there. So there's ways of doing this, and just to start getting the networking muscle used. And then it does get easier, because you'll have sort of a formula. You'll read your Deborah Fine book, you'll get your buddy, you'll go out, you have a goal to talk to 2 people. And then when it becomes a routine, it's easier to do. It's never easy for most of us, but it gets easier to do. So that's my suggestion for today. And if you have other suggestions and you want to list them down below in the comment section there, I would love them, and I would love to share them, giving credit, of course, with those our audience here who also sees this video and comments below. That would be great. If you like this video, I'm going to ask you to like it. If you know someone who will benefit from this, no matter what time of year you might watch this, I'm going to ask you to share it. Please subscribe to the channel so you do not miss next week's video. And if you do have a comment, like I mentioned earlier, then feel free to share which one resonated with you, or which one you're going to pick to do, or one you want to add. So this way the audience here can benefit from your expertise, which I would be so grateful for you sharing. So again, Lisa Rangel, Chameleon Resumes, thank you so much for joining me today, and let's get to it. Take good care.